Well, thank you for joining me. How's your day going, anyways?
Going fantastic. Ready to do this. It's back to back all day long. So I'm glad we I'm always trying to do as many things as I possibly can to add the most value to as many people as possible.
Aw, I like that. What's a day in the life of a real estate investing chiropractor?
Well, I've went from chiropractor to more of a CEO. So CEO is more of running a business and uh, really, I believe a CEO has three jobs. Number one, they should cast the vision of the company. So they're forecasting, they're looking ahead, they're looking at research and development. And what can we do and how can we do it? And it's very vision oriented. So cast the vision. Number
Mhm,
two, they should attract and align the best people or the best talent to move toward that vision. And number
mhm,
three, they should provide resources for those people to create or move toward the vision. So I used to work in the chiropractic clinic, and we've turned the chiropractic clinic into PC Medical Centers as a regenerative integrated medical clinic. Our goal is to help people without using steroids, medications, or surgery. We want to help improve their function of their body.
mhm.
And so now I'm more of the CEO of that. And then as we grow that company and I cast the vision, it creates more revenue. And that revenue we take and then reinvest into things like real estate, or we do joint partnerships, or we acquire businesses and implement the systems that we've implemented here in order to create more revenue. And that's how you build a legacy. That's how you build a cash flow. Um, uh, it's really how you build enough income to where you become really secure, let's say, in life, and so you have more options and more ability to help more people when you have more cash flow.
Yeah, definitely. How did you even get to the point of getting more into like a business owner? So, have you read the cash flow quadrant?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So, how did you get from that like S self-employed? I'm assuming as a chiropractor with your. Did you have your own clinic?
yeah, I did. Yeah, so self-employed. So you go from employee,
Hmm.
which I was an employee of. I was an electrician for a little bit with a company. Worked as a construction worker with a company. Um, Worked on a farm with my grandparents, and so I knew the employee type of role. But when I went to grad school and I got a degree, I went, well, I want to open my own company. So then that I became self-employed. For over a decade, I was self-employed, which is really owning a job. And I didn't understand how to go from self-employed to business owner
Yeah.
until I realized that they're two different skill sets. A
Hmm.
self-employed person is a person that wants to do a thing. They want to treat as a chiropractor, they want to be a dentist, they want to be a photographer, they want to be a dance instructor, they want to do a thing. They're good at it, they love it, they want to do that thing.
Hmm.
um, that's where most people get stuck because they want to do that thing and then it starts to create traction and people like using them and working with them, and then they get overwhelmed with, now I've got too many people to be able to handle myself, so then they hire someone
Hmm.
and they don't really have the business structure set up. And when you don't have a business structure set up, you basically are just hiring people to solve your problems that you think you have, and then those people bring their own personal understanding and experience and their own values to the company. And then you get enough people doing that, like you hire another and hire another and hire another, and before you know it, there's chaos. It's just like there's no definition of who's doing what and who's responsible for what, and you're only going to get to a certain level of growth until it collapses or it won't grow anymore. And so I realized I needed to hire other people that already know how to run a business and know how to be the CEO and learn that skill set. Then I implemented systems and hired people to pull myself out of being in the clinic, in the business. So then I could do what I'm good at, which is take the next steps of become the visionary, become the person that says, oh, well, here's what I foresee we can do as a company. And making sure that I hire the right people to make sure that we implement those systems
Oh no, we lost them. We'll see if we can get him back right now. Dr. Greg, no. Nope. It's still black.
There we go.
There we go.
I'm sorry. I'm not as familiar with StreamYard, apparently. All right. So I hope you got all that, but
I got most of it until the last second where I'm pretty sure you could tell when your screen cut off.
Jada,
Okay.
I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah. Can you hear me? No? Can you see me? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Hello? Let me know. Let me know. How about now? Just, I'm going to keep talking. So whenever you hear me, just let me know.
Ah,
How about,
gotcha.
you can hear me?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Cool. Yeah, I think we were hearing you talk about like putting systems in place and being able to then hire out more people to take care of certain procedures and such.
Yeah, but you need to know the caliber of person that you need for that role, and you need to know the outcome of that position. So, this being driven by youth, I'm sure you have a lot of younger individuals watching this, right? As a young
Hopefully.
individual, hopefully, yeah. As a young individual, what you need to do is you need to put a value of learning skills above money.
Mhm.
So if you had an opportunity for an internship and working for people that are already really successful in the industry that you want to work in, or you had an opportunity to go into a company that maybe is only a few people big and they're trying to hire you and pay you a little bit more money than you can get at the bigger company, or maybe a lot more or whatever, but you want to choose the potential for skills greater than the potential for money, because over the long term,
Mhm.
the skills are going to pay you more in dividends, meaning way more over time than the early money would.
Mhm.
So I know somebody that did that. They took a job making $50,000 a year, and somebody else in the same industry took a job making almost half that, $30,000 a year. And the person that was making $30,000 a year was learning way more at a faster rate because they were showing up early and they were working with people that were giants in the industry. And so over time, they ended up having a much higher skill set. And what the world really pays you for is skills, unique skills. The more unique your skills are, the more revenue you are going to be able to create. That's why entrepreneurs and people that are able to build big businesses get paid the most, because it is such a hard and unique skill.
Definitely. How did you learn? Did you have like a mentor when you first started all of this so that you had somebody to ask questions to?
So originally, not really. I hired different coaches, or I would read books, and it wasn't an individual mentor. If I had to do it all over again, I would really go work for other people for a little while to figure out what I really liked and what I really didn't. I started my business when I was 23.
Wow.
Um, and yeah. And so when I was 23, I thought I knew more than I did. And I
Mhm.
wish I would have went and worked for some people that were already really good at business, because I spent good amount over a decade trying to figure business out when I could have probably learned it in 2 or 3 years working for someone who already knew how to run a really well groomed business.
Dang. Yeah, that's super important. I think that's like one of the major things that I hear in books and in podcasts and anybody that's like, pretty big in their field. They go like, um, when you get a mentor, that is so that you can shorten that kind of learning curve. It definitely makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, there's two ways to learn. You can learn from your own experience, or you can learn from someone else's experience. And I can tell you, your own experience is more costly and more painful,
Hmm.
and learning from someone else's experience is less costly and less painful.
Definitely. That reminds me, I had, or at least going back to when I had introduced or mentioned cash flow quadrant right now, that reminded me of Rich Dad Poor Dad, reminded me of liabilities, and that I think you had posted a video recently, right? Kind of discussing what are the liabilities and assets within ourselves. Can you explain that a little more? I love the video.
Yeah. So everybody thinks of liabilities and assets as far as more of the financial side. They think of a asset being a really in Rich Dad Poor Dad. They talk about assets being anything that you have that provides money to you, and they talk about liabilities as anything you own that takes money away from you. On a personal financial sheet, when you fill out your personal financial sheet, an asset is anything that you own, and if it has any equity or any value to it, and then a liability is anything that you owe money to. So like a bank loan would be a liability, and if you have a bank loan on your house, then your house is listed as an asset. And if you have $100,000 of a bank loan, that's your liability, and your house is worth 200,000, then you have an asset of 200,000, and you subtract those out, and now you have $100,000 of equity. But everybody thinks of that in terms of financials. But I look at liabilities and assets as far as the way we think about ourselves.
Mhm.
So the way we think about ourselves is, if you think negative thoughts about yourself all the time and you repeat those things, you will believe those things about you. And most of the time, living in the world that we live in, most people have way more liabilities in their mind about themselves than they do assets. So what I like to do is I like to have people take a sheet of paper and draw a line down the middle. And on the one side, they write down the assets or the things that they love about themselves, that they just think that they think are great about them. And on the other side, they write down all the liabilities, which is all the things that they either say or believe or think about themselves that they don't think they're good enough at, or that they are not enough of, or the things that they think repetitively that are just negative thoughts about themselves.
Mhm.
And what you want to try to do is you want to try to become aware of what your thought patterns are, because if you have a massive list of liabilities and a really short list of assets, that's what you believe about yourself and think about yourself all day every day. And if you have a bigger list of liabilities, then you are going to look down on yourself. When confidence comes from saying, you know what, I do a really great stuff, I am very intentional about what I do. I'm growing, I'm moving in the right direction. I will not always make the right decisions, but I'm learning from the decisions that I do make. And my intentions are good. Therefore, I'm going to, be able to help a lot of people and do a lot of great things. Ultimately, what we're really searching for in life is we're looking for fulfillment, contentment, happiness, joy. That's really what we're looking for. And a lot of times we go the wrong way about trying to find that. But this is the first step in that. It's figuring out what are the things that I believe about myself that I repeat to myself on a regular basis. And are they good or are they bad? Are they positive or are they negative? You want a massive asset list of your thoughts about you.
Mhm. I love that. That is amazing. But so within the past couple of months, I would say like I think about 3 months, I've been really trying to delve into reading more and trying to do a lot of personal development, and like exercising more, and really thinking, or really being aware of what I'm saying and what I'm thinking as well. And I'm reading Think and Grow Rich right now for the first time, and it's a lot of what he's saying is a lot of stuff that my mom grew up telling me. So it's kind of manifestation stuff, but it's like, it matters. Like, it matters to have a plan. It matters to write a statement. And we used to do vision boards when I was younger. And at first it's just kind of like, oh, cool. Well, we're gonna aim to get this, but um it makes sense. Like, it makes sense to have a goal that you see every day that's like hanging somewhere where you're going to look at it, because that's you're always redirecting your focus to your goal. And And it's not until like very recently, I think within this last month, that everything is really hitting home, and I'm like, everything is just making so much more sense now. Like, especially, okay, what are the things am I listening to? Like, am I watching, or like going, my mom used to not let me watch any scary movies before I went to sleep. And even that makes sense now. Like, yeah, why would you put that into your thoughts? And especially when you're going to sleep, like that's when your subconscious is doing all its work. So
Hmm. Yeah.
it, yeah, I love that.
So, what's your overall idea, or what do you think the overall idea of Think and Grow Rich is?
um
What's your take on that?
I think it's like the title. So far from what I've read, I think the overall, I don't know. It's hard because there's different, or it's difficult because there's a lot of different things that are starting to come to my mind right now. But
Mm,
I think being able to take out the word like impossible or
mm,
limit. I think it's more about trying to open your mind to being limitless, uh,
mm,
and then really thinking about, okay, well, if there's no limit to things or your goals, then how can you go about achieving them? So it's like, okay, well, like how he's saying, you need that desire. So, okay, well,
mm,
what is that desire? What's that reasoning behind things? And if you're trying to get to that goal, but you haven't gotten to it, and you're starting to lose track of consistency, okay, then that desire isn't strong enough. So what do
mhm.
you need to really, really have that strong desire? So I think that's what I've gotten.
Yeah, that's really really great. What I look at it when you talk about desire, it's basically being able to define what you actually want and putting all your focus, energy, and attention toward it, and no
Mm-hmm,
one can tell you otherwise. That's the thing. See, people kind of halfway think they want something, and then they get talked out of it by themselves or by other people around them.
mm-hmm,
And it's just having this overwhelming desire of saying in one direction, saying this is what I'm going to accomplish no matter what, because it is who I am, it's my purpose in this life. Now the hard part is for young individuals, I was there too, is knowing what that purpose is, what you actually really want, because the only way to know that is through experience, it's through doing things, and it's through paying attention while you're doing those things and going, oh, I like this and I don't like that, and what do I really want out of life, and it can change as time goes on. um, but that's what it's really all about. Is Think and Grow Rich is all about how can you take something that you desire and turn it into something that you say I'm obsessed with it and is the thing that I want, no matter what, I'm going to work towards achieving that thing.
mm-hmm,
And that's what's so hard for so many people. You've heard of shiny object syndrome, where people are like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that and a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Well, you become a dabbler in everything, you don't actually become an expert in one thing.
mm-hmm,
And that's why I say it's so important to go work for someone or go work for a company that already has people that are doing really well in that area, because then you'll get an idea of, is this what I actually want?
mm-hmm.
Is it what is it going to move me towards the direction of where I want to end up? And then you can, either keep going or change accordingly.
That's really, yeah, I think that last part that you said is, I mean, everything that you're saying is definitely very important. But the last thing, my dad growing up, um, and now within the past few years, he gives me reminders, but he tells me to always reevaluate what I'm doing, where I'm at, who I surround myself with, and where I'm going. And that's exactly what you just said.
Yeah. So, I mean, knowing where you want to go and then surrounding yourself with people who have already been there or who are already achieving what you want to achieve, or at least are moving in that direction. See, i- people that I always look at, people that talk about their past are
Hmm.
people that aren't moving forward. They're only thinking and looking behind them.
Hmm.
People that talk about where they're going are generally achievers, but people that talk about ideas and dreams and visions and those type of things, those are the people that really become truly extra successful in life, as far as financially, but also as far as, like creating great relationships around you, and not only that, but creating great teams and just having that fulfilled type feeling. Those are the people that are looking ahead and saying, I have these visions of what I want to do and why I'm doing them and moving towards that. And it gets you excited every day. The people that have trouble getting out of bed in the morning, which is a very common, like 30 to 50-year-old person's problem a lot of times, because they're stuck in a rut, if they will.
Mhm.
If they can't get out of bed and they're not excited about it, it's because they can predict their emotions for the day. They can predict what they're going to feel or what things they're going to run into, and it's not exciting. There's
Mhm.
no like, oh yes, this is going to be fun or exciting. It's like this, like, ugh, this is going to suck today, and that's no way you don't want to live that way,
Yeah.
and you don't have to.
Yeah, that sounds really sad to be able to predict your days. Oh, that kind of reminds me of, and I brought this up before. I don't know if it's on the podcast. I brought it up, but I saw a video the other day of somebody that was saying they no longer look forward to Friday, um,
Mm.
which sounds bad, but they mean it in a good way. Because before they,
It's
used to, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
they mean what they mean is that you should look forward to every day. It's like saying you shouldn't really dread Monday. Oh, it's another Monday. Because if all of your days are exciting and there's something that is exciting or that you love about those days, there's really no point in looking forward to or not looking forward to any specific day.
Mhm.
If you're doing the things that light you up and get you excited, even the stuff that sucks that has to be done in order to move you toward the thing that lights you up and gets you excited is still going to be better than doing mundane stuff that doesn't light you up at all, and you're not moving towards anything that lights you up or gets you excited. So that's the way I look at it. Like, there are times where I like, well, I have to do this thing that I don't really enjoy, but it is a necessary part of the overall vision, and that does get me excited. So now I'm
Mhm.
like, I'm going to crush this thing so I can move on to this, move forward in the process, because that's
Yeah.
really what happiness should be. Happiness should be growth towards something.
Hmm. Ooh, I like that you brought it up. I like that you brought. I like that definition of happiness. I feel like a lot of people nowadays feel that excitement, or when they're having a good time and they feel, okay, this is happy. I want to be happy all the time. And that is a recipe for disaster because you just get disappointed all the time. I had a friend that felt that way all the time. He said that he would get a new job and he's like, I should be happy right now, but I'm not. I'm like, well, you're focusing on it too much. Chill out a little bit.
Mhm. Well, what he's doing is he's falling into a trap, and the trap is that he's putting happiness off into the future. He's saying, "I'll be happy when I get this job, when I make this amount of money, when I get this house, when I get this spouse, when I get this car." He's putting happiness off into the future, and then when you actually get that thing, you realize it's not going to make you happy, which makes you sad, and then you put your happiness off into something else. Well, maybe this wasn't it. Maybe it was that car, or that
Mhm.
handbag, or that whatever. Um, what you need to practice is having fulfillment and contentment now,
Mhm.
because you either are fulfilled and are content and are happy, or you're not. And if you are fulfilled and you are happy and you are content, then it doesn't matter if you achieve the goal. As long as you're in the moment moving toward it, that's what you're really looking for. And that's where happiness really should be. And so that's what I would say is that's what they need to work on.
And so, do you think people would feel that fulfillment now and content now? Um, do you think that how can they feel that? Is that if they have a goal
It's
that
a
they're
practice. No,
towards?
it's a practice. So if you wanted to, so your emotions are based on what you're thinking and what you're focusing on.
Mhm.
And so if you wanted to feel really happy and overjoyed, all you have to do is start thinking about things that make you happy and overjoyed. So if you practice happiness and gratitude and overjoyment and those type of things, you will experience it a majority of your time. But if you are in the habit of practicing sadness and depression and discontent and insecurity, and you're practicing those things all the time, well, that's what you're going to feel. So you have to go. That goes back to your original thing, which I'll have to leave you with this because, but it goes back to the original thing you were talking about, the assets versus liabilities.
Mhm.
Those thoughts that you think about yourself are what's actually what you're practicing. The emotion that you get from those thoughts are what you're actually practicing. So if you practice a thought of I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, it's never going to work, I'm whatever, I don't, I'm not deserving of love, or I'm not deserving of affection, then guess what, you're going to feel that way all the time.
Yep.
And then every now and then you might get this, oh, hey, I feel good. And then you're like, but this is odd because I haven't practiced it. I'm not used to being here. So you'll drag yourself right back down into
Mm,
sadness, depression, discontent, whatever. So what I would say, we live in a world that is very negative,
mhm,
and you can fall into that trap. What I would say is flip that script and try to be practice being more um, happy with you, you know, fulfill the promises you make to yourself, and make that be your goal to say, I'm going to be content with me. Then you are content. That's just who you are.
mhm,
And therefore other people around you aren't going to have as much of effect on you because you're already content. And guess what you're going to do? You're going to attract other happy, content, fulfilled people, and then you'll be like, oh, this is nice, I'm happy, fulfilled, and content. So you just have to practice those emotions and go, what emotions would I like to experience most of the day? I would like to experience joy and excitement and happiness and contentment and fulfillment. Okay, what things bring me joy and happiness and contentment and fulfillment and all those things? Then you start going, okay, so how can I pack a majority of my time that with those things that make me feel that way? Or
mhm.
at least I'm moving toward things that make me feel that way, so I feel that way now. So you see what I mean? It's just a practice.
Oh my gosh, yes, that's exactly it. That's exactly everything that I'm trying to do. You hit the nail on the head. Thank you, Dr. Gray.
You're welcome.
And are you on a time crunch? Do you have to go?
I do in just a couple minutes. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I super appreciate everything you yeah spoke about. This is super fun, and it was only it didn't even feel like 20 minutes. It seems like it's been like maybe 10. So
Yeah.
so much. I will say, let's leave it on one last question. If you were a vacation, what kind of vacation would you be?
If I was a vacation,
Hmm.
what kind of vacation would I be? I would be a vacation filled with love and joy and happiness and contentment and sharing time with others that felt the same way about me.
That's so cute. That's very vague, but I'll take it.
Well, it's not a place, because that's what's cool is the reason why people go on vacations is to feel an emotion.
Hmm.
Well, you can feel that emotion now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm pumped up. Thank you, Dr. G. This is so great. I love talking to you. It's always been great.
Awesome, Jay. Well, I'm glad that you had me on. I really appreciate it. And hopefully, I've added some value to your listeners and the people that you have in your groups.
Yeah, I know you added value to me. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Jada. You have a great day.
You too. Bye.